Vince Eichholtz. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, members of the council. What? Yep. I'll shift. Yep. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Vince Eichholtz, and this distinguished lady here is in fact my mother. Her name is Edelwina, but she goes by the name of Edie. Now we're here today to strongly advocate for the speedy completion of the cycleways network and to speak against its postponement in the long-term plan. Many have already spoken about in regard to the positive aspects of completing the individual cycleways and the network as a whole, especially in regard to cost effectiveness, safety, speed, ease of travel, increased use of local amenities and businesses, as well as the health, exercise and simple enjoyment of it as a social and leisure activity. We completely agree in that regard. Don't think there's any debate in most cases in respect certainly with health and leisure. I am however concerned that there are certain aspects which appear to be undervalued when it comes to considering the cycle network. That being its part in the overall vision of for the future of the city, and also in regard to the current and future needs of certain groups of the less abled, as you can see, and the older person as well. Aha. Better rotate her. She might get a headache. Falls risk, I guess. Now my co-presenter represents both these groups, clearly in the senior sector, and also with some limited mobility. She survived the difficulties associated with the wars in Europe, coming from Holland in the 1950s, and she chose New Zealand over Canada, as it happens, which was her family favourite at the time. She initially came to Wellington and then settled permanently in Christchurch. Now she has her hearing issues, but having survived to 90, that suggests that she has a set of good genes, and as her son I'm kind of hoping that's the case. Now it could also of course be her habit of cycling everywhere. She came originally from Holland. She used to cycle everywhere. There were not as many cars in those days. Cars were fewer, everything was a bit safer. She's also a ratepayer and has been since the 50s, so I guess she's contributed a fair amount in that regard. She also shared an idea back in 2011 and is still waiting for the resulting vision of the city to be fulfilled. Now, in regard to that overall vision of the city, the share an idea, which is now 6 years old, made it clear that the desire of the majority was for an accessible city, with more cycling and walking. This in effect, I believe, gives the council effectively a mandate to work with and should form a baseline or a default that future planning should be considered against. As submitters, it can be frustrating to have to resubmit the same general information repeatedly for each new section or each new submission to the cycleways. The share an idea accessible city message should really have been banked. People are often genuinely surprised that there is a need to reinforce this point with each new submission. When you talk to people about when you're doing submissions, etc., and why, they're kind of wondering why it keeps cropping up again. Most of us tend to get a problem that we started to sort of describe as submitter fatigue. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of preparation to submit each time. Additionally, there needs to be greater awareness that the future usage of the cycleways network will continue to grow. I don't think that's in debate. And one of the biggest groups that's just starting to respond to that is the retired senior sector. Now, this portion of our population is only going to increase, and for some time to come, and I think we all know this, and we can all clearly see it in the demographics as we walk around the streets. Now, our society wants our older people to remain active in retirement, exercise more, live longer at home, and where possible, give them a reason to spend their money locally. This is what we all want, this is what they want. Hence the increased uptake in cycling. The reduced cost of physical and mental health care is, I think, quite obvious as well. The retired group also, as individuals, submitted to the Share an Idea 6 years ago. But many don't have the luxury of waiting for it to be completed, especially another 10 years. My mother's currently 90, and she's waited 6-7 years already. They need it completed as soon as possible. And the practical types and modes of transport are also changing. Mobility scooters, as you can see here, and similarly here. There isn't really a parking spot for mobility scooters, pedestrians, cyclists, and should there be in others. There are a number of things. Electric wheelchairs, you saw in the first photograph that I showed. Tricycles, various different forms. Electric bikes, it's a big one. They're going to grow exponentially. Not because people are lazy, it's just that it gives us an opportunity to go against the headwind with a little bit less effort. You want to get home a little faster. It's just easier, and especially if you've got other injuries or you're feeling a little bit weaker in general. Now, the pressure and the obstacles on footpaths and the shared pathways is also increasing from a variety of things. Parked cars, narrowed lanes, which you find in various different places.
Have you got very more slides to go? We've come to the end of the 5 minutes, so if we could just zap through, make your final point.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to just flick through. This is the shared pathway with cyclists, and also with obviously the posties now being on the footpaths. This is a scheme in Denmark, some of you may be familiar with, to take out people from retired areas, retirement villages, etc. But of course, not all of them need to be senior, I guess.
There's me.
There is indeed you. Yes.
Yep. Well, you know, I was feeling tired. Go on, put it up on Facebook, Vicky.
Now, I was going to mention the situation with my mother personally. This is her residence here to the left, right on the corner of Cranford and Innes Road.
Yep.
She moved originally from Madras Street, which was also scheduled to be a motorway, to move to Cranford Street many years ago now, but now I guess she hasn't escaped a motorway.
No. We haven't escaped either.
No. Given the fact that most vehicles travelling on this new route are going to be transiting the area through suburban areas, this is the best transport available.
Yep, that's a very good note to finish on, thank you.
Alternatively, something like that. Or please consider the cycleways for the future. We do have another one. We never know where we're going to be in the future, do we?
Well, this is true. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, and thank you for bringing your mother in as well as a co-presenter. It's just fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much.